In video 3, building a stair gadget, we will construct the step subfunction. Also, add an riser subfunction. We will introduce the while loop and how it works. Last, we will use the gadget to draw these new objects to the drawing. In order to expedite this, I have already developed the code. Let's do a code review. As you can see here, I have added two new global variables called WPTS and WPTR. These variables will be utilized in the looping subfunction as work points. We have already covered the draw circle subfunction in video 2. We have also covered the polar 2D subfunction in video 2. Let's review the recently added draw step subfunction. The draw step subfunction creates an object that represents the stair step. This subfunction receives three arguments: the job, the point where the object is to be created, and the layer in which the object is to be created on. As you can see, this subfunction creates the WPTR2D point that will be referenced by a riser subfunction. Again, it constructs an object as we reviewed in video 2 of this series. Let's take a look at draw riser subfunction. This function is very similar to the draw step subfunction except for WPTS2D point being calculated. Now, let us review the main function of the gadget. I have performed some house cleaning. As you can see, I have initialized a variable called WPRAD. This variable will manage the value for the work point circle radius. We still validate the job. We still haven't implemented any data retrieval yet. Let's take a look at the calculations area. You will see our first change from our previous video. WPRAD now has a value of 0.25. This will be utilized in the draw circle subfunction, as shown here. Additionally, I have deactivated the line function from our previous video through the use of a paragraph-style comment. As a best practice, I refrain from deleting code until I'm absolutely sure is no longer needed. We are creating a localized variable called stepper and initializing it to 0. As a side note, I will intentionally misspell variables in order to avoid trampling a reserved word. In order to draw our first riser, we need to set layer to stair riser. Calling the draw riser subfunction and passing the three variables as shown here. This will create the riser to the stairs starting at the finished floor work point 0. Let's review the while statement and how it works. The while statement performs a loop in your code until the test has been satisfied. To start, the while statement evaluates the difference between step count and stepper. Within the loop, we draw treads and risers on the appropriate layers and then increment the stepper count. This loop is repeated until stepper count is no longer smaller than step count. If you recall, the draw step and riser subfunctions work in partnership. Each subfunction creates the work point for the other subfunction. As you can see, we increment the stepper count by 1 and loop again. When this has been completed, we issue a job refresh. Let's go see what the gadget produces. Let's clean up some of the layers and run the gadget. Work points are in place. It appears that the risers and threats are correctly spaced. Let's review the layers. Stair treads are on the correct layers. Risers are on the correct layers. Any questions?